Hello and welcome to this video on flipped classroom. What is a flipped classroom? In a traditional classroom, we teach students new vocabulary, concepts, facts, strategies, and language, and then we expect them to practice these skills at home through homework. In a flipped classroom, it's the other way around. Students learn the basic vocabulary, concepts, grammar, and facts at home, and when they come to class, these areas are practiced hands-on in some fashion and directly applied in the classroom. When can you practice flipping your class? You can do it as often or as little as you like. You might want to start slowly so that you and your students can see how it works. Let me give you an example on how I use it with my university students. First, I choose a topic that I think they can learn the basics at home, and then we can move through they can move through the material at their own pace. Here's one example. When I teach my course on teaching methodology and get to the section of the course on project-based learning, and I want to apply PBL in my classroom so that I can see how my students use the method and develop plans, I want to be able to give them feedback and help them develop their ideas. I could waste a lot of time in class going over the 7 steps of project-based learning and watching videos with them so they could see what projects look like. So I flipped this. I upload the material to the school learning platform. You could also send an email home with all of the directions, where the students learn the 7 steps of PBL on their own at home, and they see how they are applied. This means when they come to class, they are ready to start applying this to something real with me. What is the biggest issue with using a flipped classroom? It's not seeing learning as a life skill. And this is related to learning to learn. Learning to learn is a standard in most educational systems all over the world nowadays. It means helping to develop more independent learners, guiding students through resources and through the thinking process. If teachers want to help students in their thinking, we need to have them get some background knowledge on topics at home first. This way we can actually develop more important skills in the class by working through things hands-on. We need to encourage families to work with their kids and prepare them for doing this at home or having kids be able to do this at home on their own. So some things to help parents understand with why they should work with their kids and how: we can send a letter home explaining the benefits of a flipped classroom and how it works. We can send them directions on how to use the material and how this benefits the kids. Maybe give some suggested time management strategies. Suggest follow-up to activities they can do with their kids, and share some learning resources with parents. However, a lot of parents also don't have time to look through too much material. So as much material and links that you can directly give the students, the better. It's a good idea to go over how to use the material at home. So even if the parents or caregivers cannot do this, we should do it in the classroom. So we're going to call this a pre-flip, okay? And what this means is we have to talk to the students about when and how to watch a video. Maybe sitting in a quiet, distraction-free area without their phone. They've closed all the tabs on their computers, right? They've got no social media on. They've got a notebook ready. They're ready to take some notes and then go over some note-taking tips. Now, you don't have to use videos. It's just one of the easiest ways to start flipping a classroom. But you can use many other things to flip your classroom, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But videos are one of the easiest ways to start. Then you go to the flip. So be realistic about what your students can learn factually or conceptually on their own. Think about giving them things where they can get some factual knowledge, some process, some key concepts, maybe some basic vocabulary. We're going to call these like lower order thinking skills. So they're getting some of the basic material, and then later in the classroom, we're going to go over HOTS with them, which are higher order thinking skills, where we're going to get into deeper exploration and having kids actually do things hands-on in class with us with the material that they did at home. So encourage that the kids become really good at note-taking because if they watch videos or do different types of material at home, like videos, blog posts, reading, library work, surveys, etc. If they don't take any notes, it's very highly likely they're not going to remember what they learned by the time they get to the classroom. So we really want to encourage some note taking so they remember, or at least they have some notes to remember what they had gone over. Then we have the post flip, or in class after the flip. And this is where we work hands on with the kids doing different types of activities to practice those higher order thinking skills. So we can do things like attempting to solve a problem, hold a debate, we can do experiments, we can have kids create something, apply their knowledge to something real, we can work on some projects, we can design things, invent things, work on case studies, do some writing in class, working with maps, having students create games. There's so many activities that you can do with your kids if they have some of the basics at home. So as I gave the example of the 7 steps of PBL, if my students can learn this at home and know the basic 7 steps and have been able to take a look at a few projects and how the projects run, they'll have a much better idea when they get to class with me and I'm going to do projects with them and have them create their own projects. They have a much better foundation of where we're going. So some tips from teachers who flip: start small, get parents and students to buy in and understand the importance of this, teach students how to work with the material and watch the videos, encourage the note taking, encourage the students to do the flip material, don't punish if they don't. Hopefully the idea is eventually you'll get them to do it. Although you might have to put grades on it if that's the only way of getting kids to do it. And start with, if you're going to start with short videos and specify even which minutes of videos to watch so they don't waste time. There's so much material out there on the web that you could easily use that already exists, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Some teachers might say, but my students don't have internet connection. No problem. Do it the old-fashioned way. Send them to a library or send some material home. They can prepare something from their textbooks. You can give them some papers to read or some vocabulary to look up in the dictionary. Use what you have, be creative. Here's a website to get some ideas on how to flip your own classroom. Thanks, and see you in the next video.